Grown in Greek TV traveled to the great city of Memphis, Tennessee, where the focus was on the MLK50 movement, which marked the 50th year of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Incorporated. So we caught up with members of the Memphis chapter of APHIA, as well as some other Greeks, to get a feel for the spirit of community that is circulating around the colorful city of Memphis and around the country. It's Grown in Greek TV in Memphis, Tennessee. Greek TV, we are standing outside again of the Lorraine Motel, the location of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, and I'm standing here with his brother, Vernon Woods, member of Alpha Phi Alpha, Memphis alumni chapter here. Is that right?
That's right, that's right.
And how important is today to you, not just as an Alpha man, but to know that Dr. King, is a member of your fraternity? And,
well, that, for me, that was one of the reasons why I joined the fraternity.
Yeah.
Because what Dr. King stood for, and just what all the great men that were Alphas, what they stood for. From time to time, I volunteer with the Civil Rights Museum, so, it's just our way of just giving back to our brother.
How long have you been an Alpha man?
For me, I hadn't been that long. This is my 5th year. I just celebrated 5 years on March the 9th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so, but it's been a long process for me. It's something I've always wanted to do, just never had the time to do it. So that's why I try to give as much as I can to the fraternity.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of brotherhood and, how just important that is, and the legacy, obviously, of Dr. King, but just brotherhood in general and the coming together of us and the impact that we can make as a whole.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that and, the significance, I guess, to encourage others?
Yeah, it's important that, we have all the Alphas here, but, you see plenty of Omegas here, plenty of Kappas, Sigmas, AKAs, Deltas, Sigma Gamma Rhos, Zetas. So, that's the love that we have for each other, especially in this city. We try to work well with each other, support each other in all their events. So, that's just something that we're building and we're constantly working on. And again, it just shows, the impact that Dr. King had is, you have so many right. of people out here. It's any nationality you want is out here. So, right. we just try to just honor our brother in the best way possible. Standing
here with my friend, my soror, Michelle Clement, and we're just going to talk about what today is all about and what it means. And you get a chance to meet her. She's a part of the Grown in Greek family, so it's pretty cool to be able to meet up and talk about the significance of why we're here today.
When you think in terms of, 50 years ago today at 3:30 or so p.m., we were just 2.5 hours removed from, I think, one of the most critical moments of the 20th century. And it's been a little tough, I think, emotionally being here today. Yeah. When you think in terms of what could have been and all that what wasn't as a result of a bullet that came from that building to this balcony in a split second. But it's also a day to talk about renewed faith and hope. The struggles that we encountered in '68 are just as profound, if not more so, in 18. And so it's not only a moment of reflection, it's an opportunity to coalesce around the same issues that frankly Dr. King died for: economic empowerment, social justice, fair housing, fair employment practices. So it's an opportunity to coalesce and come together and get ready for to exercise the right to vote, which is something that he was very critical in making sure we could do. So,
and that's been a part of everyone's speech, that we've seen today. The importance of voting, because that's an act to make a change, to do something, to make something different happen, or what you want to happen.
That's right.
And so that definitely is something that we should encourage. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your personal, I guess, tie to civil rights.
Sure.
And, just growing up with that being a part of your makeup. And we have to talk about your dad.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, just let's give him a shout out. but just talk about how civil rights and that whole the movement and the knowledge about it has shaped who you are and what you ultimately got into as far as career and all of that.
Okay, well, just for in the way of background, my father's a retired federal judge, and he was the first black federal judge appointed in Alabama since Reconstruction. He was a state senator before that, and was a practicing civil rights attorney, and he's resumed practicing. But when he was in practice, his primary thing, in civil rights, he did a lot around desegregating school systems, and so that was kind of his, among a number of things, that was his claim to fame. And so I've inherited that legacy, and it's a proud legacy. My interests are a little divergent from my father's. I am a lawyer. I have practiced law, but I have no interest in being a judge. And an interesting story that I like to tell people is it's a very fairly unknown fact that he was the attorney representing the black students at the University of Alabama when they sued the trustees to desegregate the team in 1969. And he took the deposition of Paul Bryant. Well, circumstances happened such that the lawsuit ultimately went away. And I am currently interested in the sports industry and working with student athletes. And so it feels like this full circle moment that, my father works to desegregate with the kids who are trying to desegregate the team, and now I'm in a position where I'm trying to work with teams that the composition of which wouldn't look like they do if it weren't for people like Dad and weren't for people like Dr. King. So it does feel like a full circle moment for me.
The apple does not fall far from the tree.
In this case, probably not.
Today, we talked about this being kind of an impromptu trip for us, but it's obviously something that we didn't need to miss as part of history. But where have your travels taken you in terms of places like this? Have you gone to other places to kind of research and I guess do your own being in the midst of history? Have you done that?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm probably a little embarrassed to say I haven't done enough of things like this. I've been to Selma for Jubilee, and I was there for the 50th in 2015. And being from Birmingham and living in Birmingham, obviously, the events of '63 are kind of baked into our culture. But I would probably admit I haven't done enough visiting of other critical civil rights locations, such as Jackson, Mississippi, such as Albany, Georgia. I've been to Nashville, but I haven't studied Fisk and Tennessee State and their involvement in the movement. And we know that Fisk was a hotbed of civil rights activity in the early 60s. So I'm going to do better. Today I'm recommitting myself to that. This is the occasion where that seems appropriate.
And it should. It should spark new vigor, and it should spark something inside of us to participate, really, to participate. And part of that is being knowledgeable.